What's going on, guys? It's Tony from Lone Wolf Paintball, and today we're going to take a look at things to consider when buying your first paintball air tank.
And Wax is the best source for paintball air tanks.
It's lonewolfpaintball.com, of course. So obviously you're just new, you're getting into the sport, or even if you're kind of a vet, literally kind of wanting to know a little bit more about things from CO2 all the way up the line through your beginner HPAs and then the higher end HPA air tanks. So we'll take a look. We're going to start here. First off, things to consider. CO2 or high pressure air. So CO2, very, very basic, been around a long time, more and more being outdated now. The CO2 tanks come in a variety of sizes. You've got 12 ounce, 20 ounce, 24 ounce, sometimes even bigger than that. But today, standard 20 ounce CO2 tank. These retail around 40 bucks. Do not use the CO2 tanks on any electronic marker. We've had a lot of that with the newer players out there kind of buying their first electronic marker and then like, I'm just gonna buy a CO2 tank because it's an air source. Yeah, but it's gonna be literally drawing liquid CO2 into your marker, so that is not good. Any solenoids, any electronics, do not use that with CO2. If you have like a standard basic, anything Tippmann or any mechanical gun, you can normally rock the CO2 on there, but this is pretty much bottom of the barrel type stuff. Like I said, being outdated. So CO2 is gonna get you in the game and out there on the field, but not if you're using an electronic marker. So Mark, do you have anything else to say about your old basic carbon dioxide?
So the benefits of the CO2 are they're cheap.
Yep.
And they work on mechanical guns, and that's about it. They're a pain in the ass to refill because who's filling CO2 anymore?
Yeah, a lot of the fields now, they just have their big compressors that obviously you hook up to the, the fill nipple on your HPA tank real quick, in and out. CO2, normally you got a scale, dumping and filling. So CO2 is definitely getting outdated, and most fields, even these days, don't even utilize that. So, check with your local field and make sure if you're gonna go the CO2 route, but I don't really recommend it. Obviously, we carry them because it is very basic and it will get you out there on the field. But next step, we're gonna talk about...
It doesn't even have a gauge, bro.
No, it doesn't have a gauge. It's got a safety burst disc in case it got overfilled too much, but there is no gauge. Unlike your HPA tank. These bad boys, your standard, this is a 48 cubic inch, which is the size of the bottle, and it holds 3,000 PSI, which is the amount of pressure that's going to be inside of the bottle. So the CI, the 48 means how big the bottle is, and then the 3,000 PSI is how much pressure is actually in the bottle. HPA tanks, these are about 50 bucks, I believe. So you can get started 50 bucks. This one's an HK Army. It does come with the readout gauge. This one, like I said, it holds 3,000 capacity. So just because the gauge, I think this one might go up to like 6. A lot of people are like, I'm gonna fill it all the way up to 6. No, you have to read the specs on the bottle and know exactly what you guys are rocking with before. If you guys don't know how to, 48 cubic inch, 3,000 PSI. That is the max amount this gauge can go up to, is 3,000. So a lot of people will overfilm at the field if you're kind of a newer player. But if you have any questions, just ask the people at your local field, for some help. Anyways, these regulators, high pressure air, it is not CO2. It is literally just compressed air. It is cleaner, better for the marker. And any one of these tanks that I'm going to be talking about next can all be used on your electronic stuff, just not the CO2. Other than that, yeah, it's real basic. It's going to be, for $10 more than the CO2. I would highly, highly recommend picking one of these bad boys up. Standard output pressure on these are 800 here. And also with that CO2, which I don't think I mentioned, also standard output pressure of 800 PSI.
What's the capacity on the CO2 tank?
You're talking capacity for this?
Yeah, like how does that compare? Is it a 48 3000 also? Or?
No, it's going to be a little bit smaller. So 20 ounces. Yeah, they measure it differently, but similar. But the HPA is definitely going to be a better option for your marker. For $10 more, definitely look into getting the HPA.
Yeah, is there even a paintball gun that would require me to use CO2?
Old school ones, the old school, like we're talking, this is not even relevant, but like Tippmann Pro lights had to rock off of CO2 with the compression. It could not function with the HPA. So.
All right, guys. Yeah, skip that unless you're trying to like power your kegerator or something.
Yeah, no, you're just gonna, trust me, if you guys are buying anything modern, current right now, just spend the extra $10 and go with the HPA tank. Going to save you a lot of hassles. And like I said, a lot of the fields aren't even filling CO2 anymore. So there's that. We are moving up. We're taking our $50 tank. We're going up to the next step up, which is a Ninja Light tank. These retail about 195 bucks. Ninja Light tank, definitely going to be a lot lighter. Well, I'm not going to say a lot lighter, but definitely lighter than your aluminum over here. This is a carbon fiber tank, and that's the next step up. This one is a 68 cubic inch, which is the actual overall size of the bottle. Like I said, this one over here was a 48. Now we're stepping it up, more air capacity, more shots you're going to get with your marker. That's what that means. This one, it's a 4,500 PSI, so it has more pressure within the bottle. And if you guys have the money, I would recommend doing that. The regulator on this, which is super important, this is the aluminum bonnet. You've got dual O-rings here, which is a nice option in case one of them shreds as you're screwing it, into your ASA. Sometimes with the aluminum between the bonnet and the inside of the ASA, you can kind of get a shred on the O-ring. So it's got dual O-rings that you're still not going to be leaking. So it's got a backup system. The regulator on this one is actually adjustable. Stock output pressure 800. You can bring it down, removing the shims on the inside to 700, and then you can go to 550 psi or 450 psi, but that is going to require you to take off the top bonnet. I have a video on this. We've already done air pressure videos, so if you need to see how to do that, check out the previous video on the channel. We'll go over that. But yeah, overall, Ninja makes some of the best tanks on the market, made in the USA, and it's a great regulator system. And like I said, if you have, using a higher end marker or you have a higher end budget, pick one of these bad boys up.
Why would I want to change the pressure? Like, don't they just have it all set the way I need it anyway?
Well, a lot of people, like to tinker, and you could literally screw this tank into any higher end marker and be completely fine. All the higher end stuff, or even, say even a Mini GS, they have their own internal regulation system once it gets screwed into the marker. A lot of people, like the tournament guys, think if they, have a lower output pressure, it's going to be less wear and tear on the O-rings. They're going to get more air efficiency. Little bit, for sure. Less wear and tear on the O-rings. Your regulator's not working as hard to bring it down to the pressure that, the actual marker operates at. Definitely true. But at the end of the day, it's still going to function if you just fill this up, stock out of the box, and put it on a gun. But a lot of the tournament guys like to bring their pressure down, less wear and tear on the internal components over time.
You know what else is really cool about these?
Tell me.
So if you look at the shape, guys, between that the one we just talked about, the HK 3000, and then this Ninja 45.
Yeah.
See how the Ninja 45 is rounded? They make all kinds of cool like sleeves and things you can put on to customize and decorate, and they don't really fit well on the HK.
Yeah, they're harder to find for the basic ones for sure. And then there's all sorts of, and that's a good point that you brought up too, Mark, is there's tank just sleeves for just the back half, or there's an entire cover, so when it's actually on your marker, it's not sliding around on your shoulder. So yeah, there's tons of different full cover options, or even just half cover options that are rubber, so it's not sliding around, so you guys aren't missing shots out there on the field. So yeah, this is just the Ninja Light 195. This is why we're talking steps up. I like that you mentioned that as well, because now you're talking getting into the Mac Daddy of the air tanks. This is what a lot of the guys that have a lot of money invested into their equipment are going to be using out here. This is the Ninja SL2 with the Pro V3 regulator system, available in aluminum and a stainless steel bonnet as well. Obviously, the stainless steel bonnet's going to be a little bit more. Yeah, the retail price on these bad boys, $265. Yeah, great feature. This one, the SL2, 30% lighter than the other standard carbon fiber tanks out there on the market. So 30% lighter, super light, that's what SL stands for, Super Light 2, version 2. This one is a 77. We're going to talk about air capacity. So this one is a Ninja 77. That's cubic inches. So you're going to have more air capacity, more shots out of the marker. So we went from your basic CO2 to your HK, 48 CI, and then you're getting a little bit more air with your 68. Now we're up to a 77 capacity. So just those numbers mean you have more air within the tank, getting you more shots. Kind of back to the regulator system on this one, fully adjustable. These boys are These ones, stock 550. 550 output pressure PSI. So this one you don't really have to tinker with as much if you are one of those guys that want to, you know, adjust your shims, because this one does come with a little rebuild kit there, and you guys are, you want to take shims out, or, you know, I'm not going to say add shims in, that's not a good idea, but this one has one because it's obviously stock, you know, set stock. I believe the Pro V3 reg can go up to 750 PSI at maximum, so just be aware with that. But I think they did a great job with, you know, setting it at 550, works on all markers, everything's just fine there. If you guys, you know, what's the big difference with this compared to like the Ninja Light? You're getting it more air with the 77, and you're going to have better optional, you know, options with this actual reg. Like Mark said, hey, is that the one with the adjustable bonnet? This one is. So if you guys screw this onto your marker, and you notice when you go to play, the fill nipple lands like into your wrist, you guys can adjust these set screws and rotate it so that that doesn't happen. So they've got, this one's got nice features compared to just your standard stock one. So if that makes, hopefully that makes sense to a newer player. Once it's finally all the way screwed into your marker, if you don't like a gauge or a fill nipple digging into the side of your wrist, it's fully adjustable, and you guys can do that. So kind of just a, you know, quick video on a breakdown of what you guys are going to be looking for when buying your paintball air tank. Are you looking at CO2? Are you looking at a lower end kind of cheaper HPA, or do you really want to step it up, spend the money to get, you know, a nicer product? So hopefully this helps out the newer players out there.
Question,
Mark,
sir?
Question, yes?
Sir? So these are an investment, and from $40 to all the way to $265. So
correct.
Does the $265 tank last longer? Like, am I going to be able to play with that tank forever and ever and ever, or?
No, well, every year, well, not every year, every 5 years you have to get them rehydro. These tanks do have lifespans of 15 years total. So
is that all of them or just the high-end ones?
Yeah, all of them. They have to get certified just to make sure they're safe for use, and then they die out after 15 years.
And then the regulators, do you have to maintenance some of them more or less than other ones?
Like a CO2.
I don't want. I just want to screw it on and play.
No, CO2. No, you're never going to have to maintenance that if you guys want to. Obviously, some of the other stuff, if you guys are taking shims out and adding that, little bit of layer of grease, never oil on the O-rings that are actually on the inside. And we have full tech videos on all that stuff. I've taken regulators apart. Check them already out on the channel. But if you guys are looking to get into buying your first paintball air tank, only shop the best. It's lomopaintball.com.
2.